And now let's talk about percent. So the word percent literally means per 100. So for example, 14% means 14 out of every 100. And then you can even write this in decimal form. When you divide by 100, it's going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So the decimal form is 0.14. So you can skip this step if you want to and go straight from the percent to the decimal form. All you need to do is take the decimal, move it 2 places to the left, and that's going to be the decimal form. So for example, if it was 77.4%, then move the decimal 2 places to the left, and the equivalent is 0.774. So for example number 2, complete this table. So there is the fraction form, there's the decimal form, and there's also the percent form. So there's the fraction form, there's the decimal form, and there's the percent form. So what if this one was 2/5? Then find the decimal and also write it as a percent. So for 2/5, well, because it's easiest if this is per 100, based on that word, then how do you get this to be 100? So if you multiply the bottom by 20, then 5 times 20 will be 100. But if you multiply the bottom by 20, you need to multiply the top by 20. So this would be 40 over 100. So 40 over 100. And then dividing by 100 moves the decimal 2 places to the left. So the decimal form is 0.4. Or if you want to, 0.40. They both mean the same thing. Now going from the decimal to the percent, you actually move the decimal to the right. So if you move the decimal to the right 2 places, that would be 40. And when it's a percent, you do need to write the little symbol, percent. Then what if the decimal was 0.85? So then to change a decimal to a percent, take the decimal and move it to the right, and then that's going to be 85%. Now working this way for the fraction. Well, this is the tenths place and this is the hundredths place. So this is 85 100ths, or we could have gotten it from this by saying 85 per 100 or percent, 85%. And then we just need to reduce this. So I believe that they both could be divided by 5. If they end in 0 or end in 5, they could be divided by 5. So the bottom one, 100 divided by 5, that's 20. What about 85 divided by 5? 85 divided by 5 is 17. So 17 over 20 is equivalent to the decimal 0.85. And I could even check my work. 17 divided by 85 equals, oh sorry, I typed the wrong thing. 17 divided by 20 equals a 0.85. And then one last one, what if it was 0.09 as a percent? So this is a very small percent. So as a decimal, it's going to be a very small number. So going from percent to decimal, you move the decimal to the left 2 places. And then right here, there's a blank, so put a 0 as a placeholder. And then there's these 2 zeros. And then the 9. Now what about the fraction? So this is the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So this is 9 over 10,000. And that one cannot be reduced because the only thing that will divide into 9 is a 3, and a 3 will not divide into 10,000. So this one is finished. Now for some actual examples in real life. So for example number 3, a pair of shoes was $80, but went on sale for 15% off. Then find the sale price. So if it's $80, then change 15% to a decimal, which is going to be a 0.15, and then multiply with 80. And then for fun, I'm going to do that right here instead of using a calculator. So there would be 5 times 0, there would be 5 times 8 is 40, then put a placeholder 0, 1 times 0, 1 times 8, and then this would be 0, 0, and 4 and 8 is 12. On this one, the decimal had been moved over 2 places, so for this one, we need to move the decimal 2 places. So it's $12. Now that's not the sale price. You're not going to get shoes for $12. That's how much they're going to take off. So then the final answer would be $80, and then they're going to take off $12. So this can be changed to a 7, change that to a 10, minus 2 is 8, and 7 minus 1 is 6. So $68 would be the sale price. Now another way that I could check the answer is, if they're taking 15% off, that means you still have to pay 85% of the price. So if I find 85% of the $80, then it equals the $68. Then for example number 4, let's say that 2% of iPhones, when they make them in the factory, they of course have to test them before they send them out. And let's say that 2% of iPhones are defective. I don't know what the actual percent is. I'm sure that Apple is not going to tell me. Not defectives, just defective. And then suppose there's a batch of 8,400 iPhones. So they had a pretty busy day. They produced 8,400 iPhones. How many do you think are defective? So basically we just need to find 2% of the 8,400, and because this is saying defective and this is saying defective, that's all we need to do. So change 2% to a decimal. So right now the decimal is here, move it over by 2. So that's going to mean 0.02 times 8,400. So there's 2 times 0, there's 2 times 0, 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 8 is 16. And then this has the decimal moved over to the left by 2, so move the decimal to the left by 2, and it's 168 defective iPhones. So then they just put it back in the factory, have somebody fix it, and then send it out. Next, for example number 5, let's say that 80% of our class votes to have a quiz. And there are 40 people in the class. How many do not want to have a quiz? So this is 100% of the class, 40 people. If 80% do want a quiz, that means 20% do not. So for one thing, 4 do not want a quiz, that's 20%. And then find 20% of 40 people. So as a decimal, move it to the left, it's going to be 0.20, and then multiply that with 40 people. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then I would have to decide what to do with the decimal. But it seems to me like 8 out of 40, that is probably the answer. So I'm just using sort of logic and estimating. Let me see if I got it right. 0.20 times 40. Yes, that equals 8. So 8 people do not want to have a quiz. Then for example number 6, on that quiz, a student got 21 out of 25 questions correct. Now in my class, I give partial credit, but let's just assume this is like a history class or something where it's multiple choice and you either get it right or you don't. So 21 out of 20. What percent is this? So you can do 21 out of 25 questions. And then we could use the calculator, yes, but it would be more fun to make the bottom become 100. So to do that, I'll need to multiply by 4. And if you multiply the bottom by 4, you need to multiply the top by 4. So on the bottom, 25 times 4, that's going to be 100. And then 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 1 is 4, so it's 84. And then that is literally 84 per 100, so that is 84%. A middle B. Okay, then one more question, slightly different than the others. Suppose that you go to Costco or wherever and a TV is on sale for 10% off. And the sale price is $450. So then find the original price. So this sounds like the first one with the pair of shoes, but with the shoes you were finding the sale price. With this one, you're given the sale price. So one way to do this is you go, whatever the original price was, so for that, I'm just going to call it X. Basically, if you get 10% off, that means you're still paying 90% of the original price. So what's 90% of the original price? And that equals $450. Well, the word of means multiply. So changing this to a decimal, that means that it's 0.90. Of means multiply. And then that's how they got the sale price of $450. Now to solve for X, you can divide both sides by 0.90. These will then cancel out, and then X, the original price, is whatever 450 divided by 0.90 is. And for that, I think I'm going to use a calculator. So 450 divided by 0.90. So originally it was $500, and then they took 10% off to get the sale price of $450.